हम हिंदी में बात करें?
थोड़ा थोड़ा Hindi.
कितना बात कर सकते हैं?
Very, very little.
Okay, so let me put it this way. You are speaking Tamil for us. I will not understand.
My Tamil is very limited, but, Saptingla.
Acha.
Have the lunch, have food.
Yeah.
Vanakkam. We cut my Tamil to be
Hi guys, and welcome to Breaking Bread. I'm Nayantara. Today we have a really special guest for you. He's living the American dream, not in America, but right here in India. It's Bert Mueller, who came to India as a young 20-year-old something and then started California Burrito, teaching Indians a lot about the Mexican cuisine. Hi Bert, welcome to Breaking Bread. Welcome to the Zomato headquarters, and thank you for flying down.
Beautiful office. Thanks so much for having me.
I've got to know your story. So you were what? You came to India as part of some university program, and you loved it so much you never went back?
Basically, when I was 20, I came to India to study and felt that India had tremendous energy. It had a kind of great growth potential. And so after spending about 5 months studying here, I went back, finished my university, and then decided to move here and start a business.
What did you tell your family back home?
I think they were a little surprised. They'd never been to
Surprised?
India.
They weren't shocked? They didn't know what you're doing?
They were definitely
Did you ask them for a loan to start this business?
They did it. They invested a little bit. We raised some capital. I graduated college. We wrote a business plan with two of my friends, and then went to our friends and family and said, hey, do you guys want to invest in this? We're going to India to start a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah.
So people were a little skeptical about 22-year-olds going to a country they'd never been in before. And we came here, we didn't have a lot of money, but gradually people did invest. We put up a Tumblr blog, and people kind of gradually got interested in the project and did give us a little money. We raised about $250,000.
Awesome. And we didn't really have Mexican food in India at the time. So what was it like? Basically, you came to India and didn't find tacos, burritos, and was just like, hey, let's introduce Mexican food to India?
Actually, on my study abroad program, there was someone from Mexico or of Mexican origin. She cooked some food for people in the families we were staying with, and people really loved the food.
And this was all Jaipur?
This is all in Jaipur. So people clearly were resonating with it, and I love Mexican food. I love, in the US, there's Chipotle, there's Qdoba, there's Moe's. I love that format. I worked in Moe's. I loved it. I felt people would love it here, and every Indian person I talked to in the US seemed to resonate with it. I think that for Indians who go to the US, especially vegetarians, they find it easy for them to eat Mexican food. So,
how difficult or easy was it for you in the initial days to introduce the cuisine? And you started out of Bangalore, right?
Yeah.
Why Bangalore?
So Bangalore we had looked at a bunch of different cities, and Bangalore just seemed to be kind of the most cosmopolitan. I like to think of it as kind of the America of India. A lot of people from all over India go there, as well as travel outside of it since there's so many IT companies. We looked closely at Gurgaon, we looked closely at Bangalore, and Bangalore clearly was the place to go. We visited both and decided to do a tech park at the beginning because we felt that probably a tech park was the safest bet for location. A lot of restaurants die on their location.
And I read that when you started off, you wanted to sell your tacos for just 55 rupees.
Gosh, they may have been cheaper back then.
Really?
Right now, I think we have taco at 49 rupees.
But did you run out of money when you started doing this aggressive marketing, funding?
No, we were really profitable from day one. And back then, I think our food costs would have been higher. But the first store did very well. I was going back and looking at some of the numbers from our first few months there. It did very, very well. Kind of better than our business plan, in fact. So after the first store did well.
How many stores do you have? How many cloud kitchens do you have?
So in total, we have 52 stores. And of those 52, I think maybe about 8 would be cloud kitchens.
Okay.
Primarily in NCR. We have 2 in Bangalore and the rest are in NCR. And opening about 2 stores a month. So I think should hit around maybe 75 by this March.
75 by this March. So I went on California Burrito's Instagram page before you arrived at our offices, and I did see the property you were talking about, 2 tacos for 49 rupees, and you actually say, why pay 129 rupees for 2 when you can have it for 49? 49 rupees. You got to have like salsa in it. Look at the price of tomatoes. How are you profitable?
So that one day on that one product, we find it brings in a lot of new people who want to try Mexican food maybe for the first time, and that would still not lose money for us. But I think tacos is an interesting, a product for people who've never tried Mexican food before. So a lot
How
of
do
people,
you introduce? So think I've never had Mexican food in my life.
Yeah.
How would you introduce it to me? Like, what's your pitch if you were at the store, or if you just caught me outside the street saying, "Hey, come in, try."
I would probably suggest you to come try a rice bowl first.
Okay.
I think rather than thinking of Mexican food, rice is something a lot of people are comfortable with, and I would highlight that we have original Mexican ingredients in our food. We have kind of the real flavors you would get if you were in the US or Mexico. And you customize it, so you make it exactly how you want. So maybe you are very into health, you get triple protein. Maybe you are trying to cut weight, you get the salad. And then people make it however they want. So that would be my suggestion to you as a first-time customer.
Do you remember your first customer?
I don't, but I remember the first day I was working. For the first 6 months, I worked on the serving line.
You also do something which is very counterintuitive in the food industry in India, which is do it yourselves. Because, we keep hearing from merchants who say that, customers want to put in as little effort as possible instead of just unwrapping when they get the food at home. But you're doing it differently, whether it is the tortillas which come wrapped in foil, you make your own. Like I said, it's counterintuitive. Was this trial and miss? How did it work out?
I just love this format. I like do it yourself. I loved it, so I didn't try and make it any different. Which, you're right, a lot of people don't like do it yourself.
Your branding, your marketing, when you go on the Instagram page as well, is very, for the Gen Zs, you can make out. But do you target the older people as well offline? Like, how do you do that?
I think a lot of older people know the format and also know that we have a healthy option. But I think our view is that we'd like to connect with younger people because, I think you want to be youthful as a brand and you want to, I think, kind of convert younger people to this cuisine. So our target is to do that. So it is a little younger.
You also in the past said that there is similarities between Mexican cuisine and Indian cuisine. What is the similarity besides the spice level? And a lot of tomatoes.
I think that the fundamental ingredients are rather similar in a lot of ways. I think staples are rice and beans with a tortilla roti. There's salsa, chutney. Kind of a lot of similarities.
So the guacamole will be a pudina chutney?
No, I think that one's a little different. I think guac is different.
What's the sour cream?
On the face of it, there are similarities, which is maybe why it's very accessible. I think people can easily understand what it is, versus like a Japanese food or something. Yeah. Which is kind of very distant from a kind of a structure, from a taste or whatever. Yeah. But I think it also, in India, they cook a lot of the vegetables. Yes. And I think that in Mexico, they don't.
So now going forward, what is it that we can expect at California Burrito? You'll enter more geographies. What else?
I think for us, it's all about bringing the flavor you would get if you went to Mexico. And so we've just done this incrementally. We got our first, in 2018, we had imported Hass avocado trees. And we planted those, and we just got our first crop actually from them.
How is it?
I just got the ratings. It's very good.
Yeah?
Yeah, they did very well.
So it's not bitter. It worked out.
Very well.
Now the other thing, you told me how you managed to raise $250,000 when you were coming back as a 22-year-old.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. This is, of course, before the entire startup boom, and we had seen the crazy funding. Did you do it on your own? Because I did read that you have partners.
So each of us, I think, put in $15,000. So it was like
you had $15,000 as a 21-year-old?
I'd saved a lot. I'd been invested. All my summer jobs, I saved and invested. I did well in the investments. So I just came here because I think I had always loved Indian food.
Do you ever think of maybe you'll start an Indian QSR brand back in America?
I have thought about that. I don't feel that. I feel that biryani could work really well in the U.S. Okay. And I have some, people that I know, people who work in my company who are very talented in biryani. Yeah. They make it at their houses, and that I could maybe see. I love.
And it's meat in a box. It's a convenience, also, I would imagine, right?
True, absolutely. I think biryani is what a great product. Yeah. And food, and not in the U.S. Never saw it in the U.S. before.
And the other thing, which is really interesting, is. You did have investors, but you also are now fully funded. You don't want to go back. And these are still difficult times, right? So how did you navigate through, let's say, COVID-19? Were you profitable through that as well?
We were very unprofitable through COVID. We had been profitable, I think, almost every year other than that. Maybe 2014, 2015 we were not. But through COVID it was very tough. I think, had to put in money to the company for me. Some of our investors gave us loans, sold some of our vehicles, kind of really buttoned down, got through it, and then had raised a little capital in 2021 and had done well, and then raised a little capital in 2022, and I don't foresee us raising any further capital.
So you fully with internal accruals?
With internal accruals, we should be doing well.
The reason I'm also asking you this is, I said you're living the American dream in India. Everything looks very glamorous from outside, but it's, the amount of work, effort, tears that actually go in. What would your advice be? Young people, old people who are looking to enter the food business? Because it's really, really tough.
I think the food business is a very hands-on business. So if you want to be involved in the restaurant every day, you should do it.
So it can't be a side hustle.
It is not a side hustle. I remember there was a scene in The Founder, I think, where Ray Kroc saw these franchisees playing golf, and he said, "You guys are fired," which is so true. I think some people started as a side hustle. They get a consultant, and they just think, I'll put in capital and it'll work. I think it's just a very hands-on business. So you have to want that. If you're good with that, then why not? It's not.
You use the word restaurant, but I would imagine here you mean by this restaurant or cloud kitchen, you've got to be very hands-on.
I think food is just very hands-on since, a lot of people involved, perishable ingredients, a lot of competition. I think it's just a very hands-on business.
How do you keep a check on all your stores and the quality control?
So a lot of this we have to thank you guys. You guys give us a lot of data, which has been very helpful for us understanding where we're weak. The beauty of this restaurant format is the freshness and what you get.
And that's what Mexican food is also all about.
Totally.
Yeah. So you got to get that right each time.
100%. So you can't compromise on that.
But tell me, how do you then, as an entrepreneur, divide your time? And this is, of course, again, people who are tuning in, they want to hear stories of those who have succeeded. You got to make sure your food is great. You got to come up with new products. You got to do product market fit. You got to sign on new real estate space. You got to find new vendors. How do you divide your time? And of course, you got to do surprise quality checks.
Absolutely. And I think also you need to build a team and you kind of grow people. So I think a lot of it is kind of guiding each team. Definitely a good amount of time with new product development, some time in kind of figuring out marketing, real estate, a lot of real estate time. I think the biggest decision I make is which properties we sign.
Okay.
So this has not been a piece that we've systematized at our scale. Maybe once you get to a scale where you're doing 5 stores a month or 4 stores or 3 stores a month, then maybe you'd have a team that does this all. So right now I do that. And that's, you keep on researching and figuring out, what's
Is it the next
available.
cosmopolitan city?
Not city though, we're within a city.
Correct. So you look for newer neighborhoods? Is that how you also do it?
Well, I think different cities are different. Delhi is very tricky with real estate. I think it's very investor driven.
Oh, wait till you go to Mumbai.
Is it investor driven there as well? It's expensive there.
It's very expensive.
Super competitive.
Yeah.
I think Bangalore and Hyderabad are different on real estate, where it's less investor driven. There's not real estate agent shops every place.
So when you go to Mumbai, like you said, it's very expensive. So is that a city, for example, where you'd want to do restaurants, or would it make more sense than to do cloud kitchens looking at the price points?
I think probably you do 3 or 4 customer-facing restaurants and then 4 or 5 cloud kitchens and then see what happens. I think definitely the more expensive the real estate, the more favorable a cloud kitchen looks.
And when you negotiate in English, or do you try and learn the language there? Because I did go on Instagram, I've seen you trying to speak in Hindi, in Tamil, what's going on?
Normally it would be in English.
Yeah.
But if it's in another language, I would probably let someone else do the main speaking, and I will maybe say a few things in the language.
हम हिंदी में बात करें?
थोड़ा Hindi.
कितना बात कर सकते हैं?
Very, very little.
Okay, so let me put it this way. You are speaking Tamil for us. I will not understand. So even if it's really bad, you can go for it.
Not, my Tamil is very limited, but, saptingla. I have the lunch, when I have food.
Yeah.
Vanakkam. We cut my Tamil to
And Hindi, that's all you know how to say? Thoda baat kar
No,
sakte hain?
I think in Hindi you have to learn about the words maybe that go in a restaurant. So like namak.
Okay.
Kali
mirch.
Justi. Or no, that's the jada. In Canada, be jasti, like hot, garmi, garam, tanda.
I like it. Go, give us more.
Very limited.
Tomato,
Yeah, sure.
प्याज,
आप कैसे हैं?
बहुत बढ़िया.
आपका गांव किधर है?
हम दिल्ली के ही हैं. आप कहाँ
So
के?
very little, very
Yeah, that's
little. But
pretty
little
good.
Kannada, little Hindi.
Did you ever
little
go
Tamil.
to school to learn Hindi, or like
did.
did you try to formally learn Hindi?
I learned Hindi when I was
But you were in
studying here.
Bangalore, right? So like,
Yeah, I didn't need it.
You didn't
I think
need it there.
English.
That's the
really,
thing.
in the restaurants, you need Hindi though, because a lot of people are from the north, from Assam and from Northeast, and so a lot of Hindi.
So you're talking about your staff as well?
Yes.
How big a challenge was that language?
Well, I can't say I mastered it. So
You use Google Translate? Is that what you do?
no, I listen to my staff talk, and sometimes when you're having a meeting, then half the team will start talking in Hindi. So then you should know it's someone's.
Do you watch Hindi
They
movies?
forget you're there. I have seen a few. Yeah, I saw DDLJ.
Yes, Dilwale Dulhania Le Jayenge. Oh my God, even
It's a nice
you
one.
watched DDLJ.
Saw that. That's a nice
Yeah.
one. A few Hindi movies.
Huh. Okay.
I try to keep with the regional. Kannada, I've seen a few. Tamil, I've seen a few.
And because you want to, and your aim is to conquer the South Indian market as well, which is so diverse.
Yeah.
But like since we're talking about Tamil, it's a place where Tamil Nadu obsessed with their movies. Have you been approached that if you're going to make it, you've got to get a brand ambassador from the movies, because that's a lot of the way the marketing happens in Tamil Nadu?
I think that we've always been very apprehensive of spending a lot of money on marketing, which is maybe why.
That's how you're profitable,
yeah,
right?
probably. I think that those probably are very expensive partnerships.
It is, yeah.
So we've always tried to think, how can we do more with less?
So you don't
which is
go
why
down
I started the marketing.
and you don't go down this entire path of influencers and stuff like that.
We do influencer, but maybe it's a barter influencers. I think that there's plenty to be done with smaller influencers who can generate a decent reach. And
Are you finding that? Is that the case where you have regional influencers, at least when it comes to food?
we've done a few in Delhi. Not a very big budget, but maybe people with 100,000 followers. I think influencers are great. I think if they have an engaged audience. I think we've also seen that kind of people who do more vernacular content have maybe more engaged audiences.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Maybe particularly in the South. So experimenting with it, still have not done a great deal. Maybe, but I think marketing we could do better on.
So now tell me one thing. If you were to see today's menu at California Burrito, what's your number one go-to dish? Because, we've got the founder. Now you tell us what's the best there. Don't tell me top recommended. Don't tell me best sellers. One.
For me, barbecue chicken burrito is what I order. However,
the mini? Because the mini is really not mini.
I get the mini with double chicken.
Okay. I remember the first time I ordered and I said, I'm not that hungry. I'll order the mini. I was like, this is not mini.
Yeah. No, the portion sizes are decent.
It's really generous, yes.
I recommend people try a rice bowl when they first come. And I find often a person might have like 100 rice bowls and then they move to a burrito and then they like burrito. Like I saw this with my flatmate.
Okay.
So I just personally like the burrito better, but more people like the rice bowls.
So you're not convinced by this entire story that you got to localize to the palate?
I'm very not convinced by it. I think people actually, first off, I think the people who have been abroad and had it will be your brand ambassadors and they'll teach people about it. And I think ultimately the Mexicans did it the best.
Yeah.
So why should I not follow what they did?
Fair enough. Now, before I close this interview, you did say that you always loved Indian food.
Yes.
What are your favorite Indian food dishes?
I would say Hyderabad biryani is my favorite.
How many biryanis do you have in a week?
I actually don't eat that many anymore, but there's a few great ones in Bangalore. I like our food, to be honest.
How often do you have that?
I had it yesterday twice. But probably I eat our food 3-4 times a week.
And how do you not get tired of it? Or is that the way to perhaps keep innovating?
I think that's the thing, is you have to keeping it interesting, because we don't change our menu much.
No, you don't.
So whether it's a new chicken or a new paneer or a new salsa or some small tweaks that are occurring, I try to keep myself interested in it. Like right now we're doing a different type of cheese. Little things that make it...
What do you mean different kind of cheese?
We're trying a different cheese grater.
Okay.
So we are getting a machine where you can have fresh cheese that gets grated. It's much better.
Okay.
So we're testing this in one store.
How long do you test before you take it to market?
A test would occur for at least 3 months.
3 months?
At least.
In one city?
In one store, or 3 stores. We usually take 3 stores, test it for 3 months, then maybe add 3 stores, test it for another 2 or 3 months.
With customers or?
Yeah.
And then you ask them for their feedback and stuff.
Generally, we'll look at our ratings online as well.
Do you go through every review on Zomato and our competitor?
Yes, I do. Do I read all of them now? Maybe I don't read all of them now. We have a software that aggregates all of them. So I log in every 2 days and read.
The good ones, the bad ones, or both?
I look at the ones that have comments on them.
Okay.
So I'd read all those.
And then what do you do? Do you scold?
I look for
people?
patterns.
Okay.
Do I scold?
Do you scold people if you see there's a pattern of one star of negative reviews?
I look for patterns before I would try
Would you
it.
believe the reviews? Let's first start with that.
100% I believe
a
the
lot of
reviews.
people say that, it's fake, it's by a
100%.
competitor.
Who has time to do all that?
So you're not cynical.
100% not cynical.
You're from California, right? So that helps, right?
Yeah. Well, and I want our team to believe them as well, because sometimes the people in the team will say, that can't be real. But no, it's probably real.
It's better to maybe
do all
believe that it's real and therefore fix it.
Yeah, we should default it's all real. Yeah, absolutely.
And with that, Bert, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.